fly chick coming through. Nice to meet you, glad you came too. Like you said, when you know you got moves. You spit game and you know you spit.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Fastlane Collective. I am your host today, Brianna. I am back. I've been a little MIA the past couple of episodes just due to life, but I'm joined by the lovely Yasmin today. Yasmin, how are you doing? How was your weekend?
I'm doing good. I'm, not really much to report back on. I'm back at uni, so I was enjoying having a free weekend. But yeah, I'm so happy to have you back because I'm not used to hosting. I'm missing you, and you do it better. So it just felt strange, me being in control. So I'm glad you're back.
Nonsense. You guys do a great job while I'm gone, and it's just, I mean, I'm just used to hosting, I guess. So I just more feels like just a convo that I'm having with you ladies. But yeah, I'm glad to be back. Glad to hear you're back at uni, enjoying, I'm sure, slightly dreading possibly being back. But I see you've got do you have a Lando Norris sweatshirt on today?
Actually, Oscar Piastri, I feel like he needs the support. And I've also stolen my mother's mug, which says Carlos Sainz, biggest fan on it. She
Love it.
is quite the fan of Carlos Sainz.
Yes.
But you're repping the Williams merch today. I mean,
am.
we're coming representing the teams
Yes.
this weekend.
Yeah, I know. This actually isn't my hat. It's my husband's. So it's a little big on my head. So I might, for those of you watching, I feel a little ridiculous. But yeah, had to support. It's the only piece of Williams merch we have in the house. So I had to obviously, we like to show support in different ways here on this show for the winners and losers. But that's all good. It's all good. We're going to start off with some news. Just two little things we want to talk about going into this week. But today it was officially announced that Christian Horner is 100% no longer with Red Bull. If you remember, not mention. Oh goodness, we're not even 5 minutes into the show yet. If you remember when Christian Horner was dethroned from his position at Red Bull about a month or two back now, you will notice that he still was listed as an employee. He wasn't 100% stepping back from the business. And that is because what a lot of people suspected was there was some legalese that needed to get worked out before they could officially say sayonara and depart. And that has happened today. So officially Red Bull announced today, Monday, that Christian Horner is no longer with Red Bull. There are rumors about his severance package or settlement package being anywhere between 50 million all the way up to 100 million. It hasn't been confirmed. Yasmin and I have both seen a bunch of different numbers, but they've all kind of been within that range. Yasmin, what do you think about this official departure? Was it more for you like I thought he was already gone kind of thing?
Yeah, in my mind, I kind of had just ended that chapter of Christian Horner being with Red Bull. So I just assumed, oh yeah, he's gone. And then to see all this news about him coming up on my social media, I was like, is he back? Well, what's he done now? But he is going to be sleeping very well with a pile of cash.
Yeah.
I mean, that man is set for life. Not that he wasn't already, but my goodness, I saw the figure was 80 million. You've seen 100 million. Either way, we're in the double digits of millions.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I think he's going to be good. He's okay. He'll
be fine. Yeah. Yeah. It's also just crazy to think that he could be technically removed from his position, but that it's taken kind of this long to work out the legal side of things, and the money attached to it is pretty crazy. It is also interesting because last night I was reading the Formula book. If you haven't read it, highly recommend you pick it up. But the chapter I was reading last night was all about Christian Horner's beginnings with Red Bull. So kind of interesting to kind of, really full circle in the past 24 hours for my Christian Horner education. So it's very interesting, but yeah. And also that's included in this settlement is that he's going to be on what you would technically call a gardening leave. So he can't join another team for at least another year, which is really common. We've seen this with other team principals or even engineers. just to make sure that you can't transfer information from one team to another. Usually they have to give like at least a couple months, if not a year break in between their switches with teams. So Christian Horner could be back in the world of Formula One perhaps in a year or so. But we will see if that ever comes to fruition. But officially, sayonara, Christian Horner. The man is officially 100% out of the business of F1 at the moment. But yeah, I saw it on Instagram this morning and I was like, this is old news. And I was like, oh, wait, they're announcing like the paperwork has been signed and the money has been wired to his account. Like it's official now. So just, he always pops back up when you least expect it. That Christian Horner.
Yeah.
For a lot. Yeah. Any other like parting words for Christian Horner here, Yasmin?
You know, in my mind, I'm like, if I was Christian Horner and I had all this scandal, like I would never want to touch F1 again. But then we think about like Flavio Briatore and like the shame and how he was shunned out of F1 and he's back. So we may see Christian Horner back again. Maybe not in 5 years, maybe in 10.
Yeah. And I think it's something to note, like we're not dismissing Christian Horner's actions or behavior that may or may not be true. That was never really officially figured out. But if you really look back at his career, like being at a team for the length that he was with Red Bull and building that team basically from just a fancy sports drink coming to disrupt the F1 world with Dietrich Mateschitz, he really did create something really amazing, a championship winning team, a multiple championship winning team with 2 separate drivers. So he is not bad at his job is what I'm trying to say. So, I could see teams wanting, if they're willing to take on, like you said, look back at some of the people and the faces that have come back to Formula One in the past year or two. If there's a team willing to take on all the baggage that comes with Christian Horner, to possibly grow their team and become a championship winning team, I don't think it's impossible that we'll see him again. So who knows? I don't know. He seems to be enjoying horseback riding according to his Instagram. So we'll see. But our last bit of news today, ending the news segment on a happier note, really, really cool and unexpected news that came out last week. Lara Villers, a Swiss driver who's 28 years old, is putting her hat in for the FIA presidency. She has announced her intentions to run. I don't think really anybody in the general public knew much about her. She is a former driver. She has driven an F4 and Ferrari Challenge. Yasmin, what do you think about this young female driver coming and saying like, hey, like I want to be FIA president?
I'm so excited for this. And I really do hope that we see her as FIA president. I mean, that would be incredible.
Amazing.
Especially as, us as female fans. And we talk so much about wanting to support female drivers. That's why we do the F1 Academy podcast. If you haven't listened to that, go have a wee listen. The basis of this podcast is to, of course, talk about F1, but also support female drivers and upcoming females. So I'm so excited, and I really hope that she does get it. She seems so determined, a very intelligent woman, and she's had that experience on track. She knows what it's like to be a driver. She knows what a race weekend's like, and having that knowledge and being in the shoes of what a driver's position is like, I mean, will do wonders, I think, for the FIA. Sometimes I feel like people in the FIA haven't driven before. Like if I was the FIA president, I wouldn't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I haven't been in that position. So this is really exciting. I mean, what are your thoughts, Brianna, about this?
Yeah, I'm equally just excited as you. I think, and there have been, sorry, let me rewind here. I am very excited about it. For one reason is we know that women tend to be really great leaders. I believe it was the NFL, the owner of the Philadelphia Eagles, which your girl's a fan of here in American football, but he has been an outspoken advocate for women in C-suite roles, and he just says, like, basically, women get shit done. They get it done, and they do it right, and they do an amazing job at it. So somebody, in this position where it involved like a lot of navigating different groups, multitasking, that kind of thing, I think should be great. I agree with you as well. It's awesome that she's a driver, has experience in that, because I think you do need to have some kind of experience with racing, whether that's in the garage or in the car itself. So I think that'll be really great for her to like apply what she's learned there here. I was reading the bit. Motorsports did a little article on her because we saw it came up, and we were like, oh, like who is she? But who is this girl? She's from Geneva, and like I said, she raced in Formula 4 and Ferrari Challenge in the Middle East. But she said that she wants the FIA to be more democratic, more transparent, and more responsible and open to women and new generations. I think that is exactly where F1 is also going, and the fact that the FIA and F1 could kind of really be aligned if she's president, like be aligned on that. I think everyone has been asking for more democracy within the FIA and way more transparency. So I think that's going to really resonate with a lot of fans. Obviously, we don't get a vote, but like I think the fact that her main points really are aligning with also where like F1 and a lot of other motorsports series, because may we not forget, the FIA monitors tons more of different motorsport series. So I think that's really exciting, and it'd be a good change, I think, for the FIA to have a woman at the helm, like switch it up a bit. So yeah, very exciting news. We'll see what happens there. But I love that she's kind of this like fresh new person. Because usually the people that run for that position are well-known old schoolers. So yeah, really exciting. So Lara, we wish you the best. We'll keep you updated if we hear more on her. Like we said, we didn't know that much about her to begin with, so I'm hoping more information will come out with her. She'll do more press, and we'll be able to get to know her a little bit more. And of course, we'll bring that information to you here. All right, let's jump in to the race weekend. Azerbaijan, Baku. I love this track so much. It is definitely in my top 3 on the calendar. What about you, Yasmin? Are you a big Baku fan?
I love it. I mean, I love that corner. I call it the I'm stupid corner because of everyone knows Charles Leclerc going into that really tight corner. Like I don't even know the name of the corner. I just know it as I am stupid. It's just it's such a tight track, and these cars keep getting bigger and bigger. So every year we're back here, I'm just like, ooh, makes me nervous. But it's definitely a track that I want to get to at some point in my lifetime. I really hope by the time I can afford it that they don't take it off the calendar.
Well, no, because it was announced this year that Baku has re-signed till 2030. So you've got plenty of time, girl, to go see this race, hopefully. So I think this is definitely a fan favorite. This track has everything you would want from a street track. The tight corners, the like just unforgiving walls that are everywhere, which we saw a lot of this weekend. I agree with you. That corner should be renamed the I'm Stupid Corner. That's what I refer to it as. I mean, it just rolls off the tongue. But yeah, we have some of the fastest straights on the F1 calendar here on this circuit, and the longest straights. So it is a very exciting track. And Max Verstappen and Red Bull, they showed up and they brought everything they had, and Max Verstappen bringing home another win, 2 here after Monza. Yasmin, were you surprised to see Max Verstappen winning again here, or did you expect that after you saw the speed they had in Monza?
I mean, I was kind of expecting them to be up there, but I just don't think I expected the McLarens to be. We're gonna get to them, okay? But I just didn't expect it to be so easy for Max this weekend. I thought there would at least be a bit of a battle, but it felt like 2024, 2023 Max Verstappen, where he's at the front and you just leave him to it. You kind of, there's a race from like P2 downwards.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it just shows that like Max is incredible. I mean, Yuki Tsunoda always also had a really good result. He was in P6. I think it was his best result of the season so far. So they're getting there. And but yeah, I think Max Verstappen just had the pace on top of everyone, and Yuki Tsunoda was still a second off Verstappen. When I know he was in dirty air and Max had literally just like the entire track to himself. But I mean, well done, Max and Red Bull this weekend.
Yeah, I was surprised to see him up there again. I think, you know, after how kind of a rough a start to the season in the middle of the season that they've had, I thought, okay, we probably won't see him on the podium. Maybe one more time, maybe twice. But to have these back to back, I think is really promising. Max just also seems way more comfortable in the car than before. And I kind of like did some digging after the race, and I saw some people were saying that they made some upgrades and brought them to Monza to the floor, and this has really made a big game change. But Max Verstappen was even quoted saying that they learned a lot in Monza. And they're carrying all of that forward. He also says they're not having to make such big drastic adjustments to the car on the race weekends now, more fine tuning and small changes, which he said is making it a lot easier to kind of hone that car into each individual track and not messing around with making really drastic changes where they just frankly don't have enough time to kind of adjust to. So it seems like Max is feeling very comfortable and kind of more in the flow of how he likes things to go. And maybe Yuki is too, like you said, with his P6 finish. That's definitely an improvement from where you've seen him before. So maybe the progress that has been made in these changes that were brought to Monza are going to just kind of carry them forward into the rest of the season. I did see that Max said that the car is operating a lot better in lower downforce. So that might have something to do with it. So we will see how they do at some higher downforce tracks. I'm really curious to see if these kind of improvements that they've made will transfer to that. So that's really exciting. I also found it curious, and I want to have your input on this, Yasmin. Max made a comment about the team just being in a good place, a happier place. Like the mood and just the overall vibes in the garage are positive, and happy again. Do you think this is because Christian Horner has left? Kind of that weight that was on the team with everything going on with him, and possibly, you know, all the things that he was carrying with him into the team. Do you think it's kind of now that he's gone, things have lightened up, and that's also contributing to the progress Red Bull's been making?
I mean, I'm sure it's a factor. Again, when you've got a team principal that has this scandal, to put it lightly, over his head, like that weighs on the team. I mean, you still have Helmut Marko there. So I don't know how much of a nice environment that would be, because he seems like a very scary man to be under the team with. But I think for Max, it probably feels a bit better. But I don't know for like Yuki. I mean, having the stress of being Max Verstappen's teammate, I don't think it would be a nice environment. But I'm happy that Max has found the team to be in a comfortable place, because I remember interviews when Christian Horner was there that like he just did not seem happy.
Yeah.
And maybe there's more to it that we're not seeing, but from the outside perspective, I think it's definitely made a difference.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on that. You could definitely see that there was tension in that garage, not just between Max Verstappen and Christian Horner, but between the teams and mechanics. It just felt like there was a bit of drama and tension behind the scenes. So I'm glad to hear that that's kind of dissipated a bit. Maybe a big sigh of relief. You know, when tension's in the air, you're kind of like, you know, something's about to happen, but you're not sure what. Maybe that has just with Christian, you know, and then moving forward in the season without him is just like, okay, like deep breath, clean sheet of paper. Let's go do what we need to do out on track. So happy to hear that the environment in the garage and for all the employees, even back at the factory, has hopefully gotten better. There are talks with this result and with the positivity around the team and the pace that we have just seen from Max Verstappen and that Red Bull, that coming back into drivers' championship contention might not be completely impossible. With the results this weekend, this puts Max Verstappen only 69 points behind Oscar Piastri. Yasmin, do you think it's a possibility, or are you like, a miracle would have to happen really for him to even get close?
I think if Oscar Piastri was just to keep crashing every race, then yes, it would be a possibility. But especially after this weekend, I think McLaren are going to come back fighting strong. Especially Oscar. So I think, yeah, no. Max, like I like how people are staying optimistic and want to spice up this like title fight, because I know it's been a bit stale here and there.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I really don't think Max is going to win this season. And I really hope not. No offense for Verstappen fans. Like, I love Max. I do. But I really want to see someone who hasn't had it before have it. So,
Yeah. I definitely feel you. I don't want to say it's completely impossible, because nothing is completely impossible with Max Verstappen, especially when he's performing at his best. But I don't think I see Max winning this season. I see him possibly getting close. I think the real battle there might be between Max and Lando toward the end. If Lando's not able to make up some of those points, which we'll get to here in a bit. But yeah, we'll see what happens, but probably not a high chance of Max winning. If he does, I'm not gonna lie, I do want Oscar to win as well, or I want somebody new to win. But if Max pulls that off, that's just a straight up miracle, and might also be entertaining to watch. Just putting that out there. Maybe. Let's move on to Mercedes and Ferraris. Speaking of winning, Mercedes, fantastic weekend this weekend. Again, just slow, steady improvement. George finishing this race in P2. Sorry, guys. If you guys aren't watching, just randomly fireworks just started to animate behind my head.
how did you do that? Why can't I do it? Like,
It's for those of you who use Microsoft Teams, you know that Apple just likes to animate things like the bubble with the thumbs up. That always pops up on my screen as well when I don't want it to. So yeah, okay. Momentary distraction. Apologies for those who are just listening and not watching, because that was probably a strange thing to hear about. But back to it. Yes, surprise. Yay, hello. Mercedes did well this weekend. George finishing in P2, Kimi finishing in P4. Finally, Kimi had a really nice, solid result and good weekend this weekend. So well done him. And also just shocking, because George Russell was not feeling well this weekend, along with Alex Albon. Apparently, they were both on the same flight and seemed to both come down with some sort of cold. So they were really struggling physical health wise. So the fact that George was able to pull off a P2 finish is pretty, well done, sir. And after this win, I really wanted to kind of look into, because I'm like, George, he hasn't been pulling out the most amazing performances we've ever seen him do, but man, has he been consistent. I went back and looked at all of the races, including this weekend. He has usually, if he's not on the podium, he's at least in the top 5. There are only a few races where he was not. So George has really been putting a great, consistent, just race weekends in and out, every single race weekend, and bringing in those consistent points. Yasmin, do you think that this is positive for George Russell? Like, he's not doing anything fantastic, but he's still bringing home podiums and top 5 finishes and consistent points. Do you think this is enough to keep him at Mercedes, or do you think they want to see more from him than just consistency?
last week on the podcast, me and Daniela were talking about how that we don't give George Russell the flowers that he's deserved. Because I've always kind of brushed over George Russell, but I mean, he, like you said, the consistency is unreal. I think he's the most consistent driver, and especially when you have Kimi, whose performance has been so up and down. throughout this entire season, George Russell has proved that he is a strong team leader and is comfortable in the car. Um, I mean, I think George just does an incredible job, and he should definitely keep his seat. I will be really surprised if he doesn't. I know there's talk of Max Verstappen's gonna go to Mercedes. I think that would be the only like circumstance that George would lose his seat. I don't see. I don't see them like kicking him out of the team. Because he is so talented. I mean, he was really unwell. Like you could hear it in his voice on the radio that he was not doing okay this weekend.
Yeah.
And he was doing incredible moves, like in the first lap, like these overtakes where he was just on fire this weekend, and probably felt on fire if he wasn't. So yeah, we need to give George Russell some more praise now, because I feel bad that I've kind of just like swept him under the rug.
Yeah, I think like part of that, and I don't want to beat a dead horse. I know you guys talked about this last week, but I think, when George Russell was with Williams, pulling out the results he did, it was almost like, holy crap, like how can you do that in that car specifically? Where he was really able to kind of showcase his ability. And then I think when he went to Mercedes, I think people just expected him to be winning like all the time. So I think he kind of flies under the radar a lot of the times because of that, because he went from like such a horrible team to such a good team. Now, granted, when he showed up to Mercedes, things weren't as great as they had been in the past. But I think George is doing really, really well at, being that consistent driver, that number one driver that they need, especially with Kimi on board and being a rookie. They need somebody who's going to consistently bring home the points. In that place, he's had 7 podiums so far this year, which is pretty great. And like I said, if he's not on the podium, he is almost usually in that top 5 there. And he is P4 in the driver's standings so far. So, not a bad year for George Russell. I think, though, that if he does stay with Mercedes, obviously, like that contract is still yet to be determined at this point. But I think next year they will be looking at more from him. They'll be like, okay, you've proven you can be consistent. Now let's be consistent with wins. So I think there'll be some more pressure on him next year for that. But yeah, just overall a positive weekend for George, Kimi, and Mercedes as a whole, bringing home some more points. Double points for the team there. And also they overtook Ferrari in the Constructors' Championship. So that's pretty crazy to think about. What do you think, Yasmin, about Ferrari's performance this weekend? There was a lot of hype in practice. They seemed to have some really good speed, and that just all seemed to crumble and not transfer to qualifying or the race.
I need to stop putting myself into like getting myself hyped up, because I do it all the time. Like, oh my gosh, look at Lewis Hamilton, he's doing so well. Oh my goodness. And I have to remind myself, this is free practice.
Yeah.
Stop. And yeah, I did it again this weekend. I just am in total disbelief, like I am every race with Ferrari. Brianna, I'm sure you have very strong feelings as a dedicated Ferrari fan. But it just doesn't get better for this team. It really doesn't. And every week I think it's going to be different, and it doesn't get better. And I just don't understand, because they're still having these like communication problems on the radio. And the car is one thing, but I just feel so bad for Leclerc and Hamilton,
Yeah.
because they take like 2 steps forwards and like 50 steps back. So
Yeah.
I just like, Brianna, give me your feelings, your heartbreak.
Yeah, I mean, man, well, first of all, to start off with, it was just not Charles Leclerc's weekend. I don't know what was going on. He even said in the press, he's not sure what's going on. He's like, I love this track. I often feel very at home here, which makes so much sense because there are a lot of similarities between Monaco and Baku in certain ways. And Charles Leclerc just like loves a good street track. That is like his home and where he feels comfortable. So the fact that he crashed out in qualifying just was really painful to watch. And obviously that put him at a disadvantage. But yeah, the speed just seemed to drop off. I don't know if it was the dirty air that they were encountering that was really kind of messing with that performance, but um really for me it just was not a great weekend for them at all. They were more of an afterthought, kind of forgotten about for a lot of the race, honestly, where they were sitting. Personally though, with the result from this weekend, I worry about Fred Vasseurs possible employment at that team. It's not great to see them be surpassed by Mercedes, especially when you have a seasoned vet like Charles in the car and a multiple world champion in the car, that you're being overtaken by a team that has, George Russell and a rookie, Kimi Antonelli. So I do worry about the future for Fred Vasseur at that team. I think, honestly, at this point, they just need to get through the rest of the season, hopefully get that position back in the constructors, and just kind of hit reset and start afresh in 2026. Like you said, they've got a lot to work out on. The communication, the car itself, like, they just seem one step behind, or like fallen off the cliff every once in a while here. So it was just sad to see that they were surpassed by Mercedes. But hey, Ferrari, get it together. Maybe you won't be passed by George Russell and Kimi Antonelli. I don't know.
I
So
mean,
yeah.
I have like a small anecdote. So I work in a shop, like a little corner shop, like a convenience store.
Yeah.
And I was serving a customer. He was wearing a Ferrari hat, and I said, "Oh, did you watch the race weekend?" And he said, "Don't talk to me about it." Like, and it's just literally like even members of the public do not want to talk about Ferrari. Like, I
Yeah.
was trying to make conversation. Like, I don't want to talk about
No.
Ferrari.
It's just
Like,
too painful.
yeah, and I was like, "Are you still gonna be wearing that? Are you still a fan? Are you still gonna be wearing that hat?" And he's like, "Not for long." So, Ferrari, come on, you're losing your support. You're losing fans.
Yeah. Yeah. I think fans are, to your point, getting really frustrated. Not just with this year, but the several years. It's just like good, but not good enough. And there's really no excuse, especially for a team like Ferrari, who receive more money than any team on that grid. They just shouldn't be performing at where they're at. Now, we've talked about it before. Obviously, we expected Lewis Hamilton to have some growing pains. I especially did. I did not really think I was going to see him anywhere this year, just because Mercedes and Ferrari, like, basically two different, completely different groups of people. It's like saying like apple pie and turkey, like two different types of food. And they, so they can go well together, Thanksgiving meal, but you have to work hard at it. So I just, yeah. Charles, and obviously if you guys saw on social media after the race, apparently Carlos and Charles were flying back together. Their flight got diverted. They had to land in the middle of Italy due to a storm, and then they had to carpool back to Monaco. And Charles Leclerc posted about it on his Instagram. He was like, "I didn't think this weekend could get any worse." And then, and I was like, "Oh, Charles, I feel so bad for the kid." But at least, like, he was with Carlos and he could kind of like laugh it off, at the end of the day. But yeah, just not a great weekend. And I don't think it's going to be a great rest of the season for Ferrari, honestly. So who knows? All right, let's move on to the sweatshirt of the team that you are wearing. McLaren, Lando Norris, Oscar Piastri. Poor Oscar. Just a really crap weekend for the man, and I didn't think it could happen, but you gotta have like one weekend that's not great. It was just going too well for Oscar Piastri, honestly. Obviously his qualifying horrible, crashed out in the first lap of the race and was out for the rest of the race. It's his first DNF for the entire season. So that's a positive. Like, it's only once so far. But this was an opportunity for Lando Norris. But I personally don't think he capitalized on it. like he could have. In an interview with Sky Sports, the interviewer was saying, was this an opportunity missed? And he said, I don't know why I have it written down here, quote, this is exactly what he said. He goes, I don't know why everyone is saying that. I did the best I could yesterday, but I did the best I could today. Every weekend is an opportunity. I mean, how do you feel, Yasmin, about Lando Norris's performance and kind of, this opportunity was gifted to him this weekend? We know how close those two are in this battle here for the Drivers' Championship. What do you think about Lando Norris's performance? And do you think that reaction that he gave there is a good way to be thinking about this?
I think that reaction says more than anything else. Of course he's annoyed that he didn't get on the podium. At least he didn't capitalize on Oscar having a god awful weekend. Yeah, I think he is annoyed at himself. Of course you would be. To finish P7 where I think that's the lowest he's scored this season has been like a DNF. I think this is one of his lowest results of the season, and those points matter. Like him not capitalizing on this weekend could be what makes or breaks him to getting the championship, and the same goes for Oscar. I'm just I wish he could just be like, yeah, like I could have done more, and just kind of put his hands up. But I mean, the man's is probably feeling it inside and is hurting inside. But I think these next couple of races we're really going to see a big push from Lando and Oscar. And I'm wondering, are we going to get into maybe some dirty scraps? Because they're both so desperate. Like, we just keep getting closer and closer. So yeah, what are your kind of thoughts on Lando's comment? It's strange. It's strange.
Yeah, I could definitely see the frustration in his response. He almost cut off the reporter a bit, in anger of like, why is everyone saying that? And I'm like, well, everyone's saying it, Lando, because this could have been your chance to really close that gap, and possibly put you in real contention for these last, months, races, to really take it to Oscar. And for you to say that this was your best, you gave your best today, I don't know if you can really say that, because we know how fast you are. We know how good you are at driving. And is P7 really your best? No, I don't think it is. And especially when things are this tight, like, you have to take every opportunity you get and get the maximum out of it. Unfortunately, this weekend, P7 was apparently his best, his maximum, according to him. But as a driver, yeah, I would be like, obviously frustrated and disappointed that I wasn't able to get more advantage out of that weekend, especially just between the two. I don't know, like, it's just been a little bit too, like, nicety nice with those two. I saw so many memes though that was like, oh, why didn't they make Lando DNF? Because that's what Oscar, like, being fair. Like, I saw so many memes like that. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, responses like that make me wonder if Lando wants this enough, or is like pushing as hard as he should,
Interesting. 'Cause I didn't think about it that way. I think it's probably kind of hit him in a way that, we don't have that many races left. And all eyes are on me. Every mistake I make is going to be not just criticized, but like analyzed. Thanks to us and other podcasts out there. Yeah, I think they're both feeling the pressure. And maybe you can say that Oscar Piastri really felt the pressure this weekend and is why he had all those mistakes, but it's not McLaren's weekend in Baku.
No, it wasn't. And it's the first weekend we really have seen them recently just not perform, which I think was surprising to everyone. who was there, who was watching. I think we've just been so used to them being so dominant. So especially their performance in qualifying was very like, what? Like I remember when I wasn't able to watch it live, but I remember when I checked in on qualifying and I was like, wait a minute, what? They're not even up at the top. That's very weird. And why is Carlos Sainz up there? Like what happened? So yeah, I think it's interesting just to see like Lando's mentality because, if you're really a championship driver, you're not going to say P7 was my best. You're going to be like, yeah, you're right. I should have capitalized on that today and I did not. And that's on me. So yeah. I also am wondering too if Oscar is like getting into Lando's head a little bit, but not on purpose. Lando's a very, as we know, like emotional. A lot of these guys are, most of them are, but some of them are a little bit more upfront with showing their emotions, which is totally okay. But Oscar is a very mild-mannered human. Like, I'm sure that boy has emotions, but he sure doesn't show it. And like, if that was my teammate, that would like disturb me slightly. Like, I'm like, are you a robot? Like, just kind of get into your head of like, psyching yourself out. Like, here's your teammate who's calm, cool, collected, and chill no matter what happens. And you're over here, like, kind of like, reacting to things when they aren't. So I don't know. I wonder if that's getting to him a little bit. And Lando has obviously had a history with McLaren. He's been with them for so long. Like, you want to bring them the championship. You feel responsible almost to do that.
And I think that not having that history makes it easier for Oscar because, again, he's so early into his career still. Like, in my mind, that I just feel like Oscar's a part of the furniture. Like, he's been there for ages, but he hasn't. And I guess that's where like people say, oh, well, then the McLaren have a bias towards Lando. And with the pit stops that just keep failing, maybe not.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's move on to our last topic and the most exciting one probably of this entire weekend. W stands for Williams, but it also stands for winning because Carlos Sainz put in an amazing performance this weekend, qualified P2, finished P3, brought home a huge chunk of points for Williams this weekend and their first podium since George Russell was on the podium in 2021, which is crazy to think about. And I kind of forgot about, to be honest with you. But wow, just wonderful performance for Carlos. When I saw he qualified P2, I was excited, but like, meh, okay, like hold on to it while you can, buddy. But such a great performance in being able to like keep that spot. And just well done, Carlos. How excited were you, Yasmin, to see Carlos be on the podium this weekend? But also, were you surprised that he got on the podium this year at all?
I was in shock, and of course, the first person to tell me was my mum. Again, dedicated Carlos Sainz fan. I feel
Love
like
it.
she's probably like got alerts on her phone of like what Carlos Sainz had for dinner. I swear. Her lock screen is him. Her coffee mugs are him.
Oh my God, I need to send her a GP Girl Carlos Sainz necklace.
She will like sleep in it. Like, I swear. Like, she is like so dedicated to this man. And she was over the moon. Like, you would have thought he won the world championship. At first, like, my mom texted me, he's like, oh my God, did you see what happened with Carlos? I thought he got into like an accident or something really serious happened. But no, I am very happy for Carlos. And I don't know if you saw like this before the weekend, but he was answering like fan questions online. And there's this sweet little girl was asking Carlos what to name her pet unicorn. Well, not pet unicorn, it's not real.
Their stuffed animal unicorn.
Her stuffed animal or pet unicorn. What am I talking about?
Yeah.
Her like stuffed animal little unicorn. And he named it Sparkles, but he asked her to, like, she had like stickers in the video and asked her to mail out a sticker to him, and he put it on the back of his helmet. So I think this is because of Sparkles. He's
Yeah.
he's on the podium because of Sparkles, so we can all thank that girl. I've forgotten her name, but unicorn power.
Yeah. Honestly, that was the first thing I said after he was on the podium. I was like, that unicorn is 100% lucky and they need to keep it on his helmet for the rest of the season, which I think is going to happen now. Like, if I was Carlos Sainz, wouldn't take that unicorn off. He even gave the unicorn a shout out more than once, which I loved. So we're all here for it. But yeah, I mean, were you surprised that he got a podium with his first year with Williams?
Oh, 100%. I mean, Ferrari this season have not gotten a podium, I'm pretty sure.
I think
No?
Charles has been on the podium. Yeah.
Has been on the podium. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, not that much. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
And to have the guy that he like kicked out, he did an incredible job at Ferrari, to now be, on the podium and keep that place. He qualified and he kept that P2, and he's like, that's just like such a like F you Ferrari, like suck it, like it's like,
Yeah.
I'm just over the moon. And Carlos even said on the radio, this is the best win of his, well, not a win, but you know what I mean, the best result of his entire career. He was saying smooth operator as usual. And how that this is not his last smooth operation, as he put it, of his time with Williams. And I'm so happy for him as well, because when we heard he was basically being demoted like that, we all talked on the podcast about this, of how undeserving it was because of how well he did at Ferrari. So I'm really glad that he's kind of performing better than he would have if he was in the Ferrari.
Yeah. Yeah, he has achieved a podium before Lewis Hamilton has achieved a podium with Ferrari, which, like you said, is kind of like a big screw you. And I think also put some doubt in their mind of, was that move right or not? Of course, they'll never say that they're thinking that, but I'm sure it's a thought in the back of someone's head. I was happy to see that Charles was also congratulated Carlos as well right after the race, and even asked his race engineer, did Carlos get on the podium on the finishing lap? The cool down lap, I mean. So yeah, it was great to see that there's still like support there for one another. Also, I 100% admit that I probably, was like, oh, well, nice knowing you, Carlos Sainz. I'll never see you on the podium ever again, like going with Williams. And I take that back. I eat my own words. I was completely wrong. And this is such a fantastic result, not just for Carlos Sainz, but I think for Williams as well. This is proving that what James Vowles is doing there at that team is working, and is doing what they needed to do. And I think that's just this is a great sign to that team, that they are headed in the right direction and that they should keep going. Part of me also like cried a little bit inside for Alex Albon. Because I was like, oh man, he probably wanted that to be him, and it's gonna suck because this is like his newbie driver, and he was able to pull out a podium before he was, and we all know that Alex is a fantastic driver, and he's done really amazing things in that Williams. But yeah, I was still happy to see though that Alex showed up at the podium. I think that just goes to show you like that it is truly a team effort in that team right now. It's not about who, but about everybody together, working together toward one goal. And I think him showing up at the podium there to celebrate with everyone was one amazing kind of team spirit. Good on him, honestly, because I'm sure he was a little, hurting inside. But yeah, I mean, I think fantastic stuff for Williams. It's just positive, and this puts them in 5th place in the constructors' standings, which is crazy.
Like, can you imagine, like, if you think about, when Lance Stroll was at the Williams, remember that? Remember how bad they were? And it's so satisfying to see this change. And James Vowles was exactly what that team needed. Exactly what that team needed. And I'm always rooting for the underdog, so I'm just happy to see that Williams are kind of making their way back up the midfield. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I hope Frank Williams is smiling down from up there, seeing them really just make this progress. And I'm sure Claire Williams too is probably cheering as well, back at home. So yeah, great things to see, positive things to see. I guess my question for you to wrap up this Williams chat, Yasmin, do you think we will see another Williams podium this year, or do you think that this was just kind of their weekend and they took advantage of all the chaos that was happening on track?
I'm going to do what we do best at the Fastlane Collective and remain optimistic. Okay? There's plenty of races, there's plenty of time. I know we're getting towards the end of the season, but I'm gonna cross my fingers that we get there, because Fernando Alonso isn't doing it for me anymore with remaining optimistic. I mean, he got a 5-second time penalty for jumping the start because he was following Oscar Piastri. So Williams, I'm putting all my optimism into you. Let's get another podium.
Yeah, and because Danielle is not here, we have to remain optimistic for her, at least. Yeah,
Of course.
yeah. And yeah, you just reminded me too, Alex's 10-second penalty as well in the race. So it was kind of like the tale of two races to this weekend for Williams, but still good positives came out of it from one side of the garage, and I think it was just an overall win for everybody there. So happy, and thank you, Sparkles.
We love you, Sparkles.
We love you, Sparkles.
I'm pretty sure they've put the sticker of what was on the back of his helmet onto the trophy,
Yes, they have.
which is really cute. I kind of hope they keep it there.
I hope so too. I hope Sparkles stays there for eternity. That would be great. I love that. Also, that little girl and her family need to go on that Sparkles merch ASAP. Like,
Yes.
start capitalizing on this. Get it.
Brianna can help, like, contact her.
Yeah. Yeah, you really need to get on it, because you could pay for your daughter's like college education or their house if they're in the UK, since college costs you guys like pennies. Not like us here in the US that had to suffer. But yeah, it was overall, Baku always brings just excitement and fun, and it's never a dull race. It really never is. And that's what I think I love about it so much. So I'm excited that it's been extended. We'll get more of this track in the coming years. But I think that's all I have really on my list for us to cover for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Anything else, Yasmin, we want to pop in there before we say adios?
I think we've gotten the key points. I mean, it's been a crazy quali. I think one of the craziest qualies that we had this season, and a crazy race. So let's hope the rest of the season is as exciting as Baku was.
Yes, let's hope so. So, as always, guys, you can follow us on social media at the Fastlane Collective. We're on Instagram, TikTok. You can also watch our podcast if you're on Spotify app or on YouTube at the Fastlane Collective. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss a single episode. And until next race, we will see you then. Bye-bye.
Hello, fly chick coming through. Nice to meet you, glad you came too. Like you said when you know you